There, they began to suspect that there were some kind of unwritten, powerful laws in the universe that guided the sun, the moon, the planets, and the whole of the solar system. Have you ever wondered if everything you believe about the world, your religion, your government, and even the laws that shape your life, is nothing more than an intricate illusion? What if the systems you trust, those you believe provide structure and purpose, are, in reality, designed to limit your perception of who you are and what you can become? These aren't questions meant to frighten you. They are meant to awaken something deeper within you. The truth is, the world is not as it appears, and uncovering this truth could open the door to a freedom you never imagined possible. The two laws that govern everything, according to Jordan Maxwell, a scholar in deciphering the hidden symbols that influence human thought, are the two laws that govern the entire world. These laws are not the ones you learn about in school or discussed in political debates. They are far older, deeper, and more profound. They influence everything, your freedoms, your politics, and even your sense of self. From the moment you were born, symbols and narratives have shaped your reality, subtly guiding your thoughts, your actions, and your very sense of self. These symbols are so deeply ingrained in our lives that we rarely question them, yet they hold a power far greater than most of us realize. A power to manipulate the subconscious mind and maintain control over entire societies. Yet, like the air you breathe, you don't notice them. Why? Because they operate in the subconscious, veiled by symbols, rituals, and systems that seem ordinary but carry extraordinary power. Think about it. Every institution, every corporation, every government relies on symbols. They are not arbitrary designs or mere decorations. Symbols carry meaning so profound that they bypass your conscious mind and speak directly to your subconscious. They influence your thoughts, your choices, and even your beliefs about what is real. Take, for instance, the logos of corporations. Have you ever looked beyond their surface design and wondered about their deeper meaning? These symbols often carry profound, hidden messages. Messages that resonate with your subconscious mind in ways you cannot fully perceive. Think of the logos of major corporations or government seals. They aren't just designs, but ancient archetypes encoded with power. They subtly communicate authority, trust, and control, ensuring compliance without question. A simple swoosh, a bitten apple, or a pair of golden arches might seem harmless, but these symbols are meticulously designed, loaded with hidden meanings that trigger specific feelings and behaviors. They guide your actions without you even realizing it. From the $sign on your currency to the eagle on a nation's flag, these symbols act as silent enforcers of the systems that govern your life. They remind you on a subconscious level of where your allegiance lies and what rules you must follow. This isn't accidental. It's a carefully constructed narrative that ensures you play your role in a world where the boundaries of freedom are often just an illusion. But symbols do more than influence consumer habits. They define the very structure of society. Flags, seals, and crests are not just images. They are declarations of power and authority. They remind you of your place in the system, whether as a citizen, a consumer, or a subject. Have you ever wondered why certain symbols feel sacred, or why some evoke fear or respect? The feelings attached to symbols, the answer lies in their ability to connect with the deeper layers of the human psyche. These symbols are the language of the unseen forces that shape our world. This isn't new knowledge. Ancient civilizations understood the power of symbols. The Egyptians carved hieroglyphs not merely as art, but as tools to convey spiritual truths. The Greeks adorned their temples with sacred geometry to align with cosmic forces. Even the Bible speaks of symbols, the cross, the lamb, the serpent, all carrying layers of meaning beyond the literal. And yet, in the modern world, we've lost touch with this understanding. We've been taught to dismiss symbols as irrelevant or superstitious, but dismissing them does not diminish their power. If anything, it makes us more vulnerable to their influence. Imagine waking up to the realization that everything you thought was solid and unchangeable, laws, governments, religions, is a construct, a narrative built upon symbols that guide your perceptions. What would happen if you began to see through this illusion? Understanding the two laws that govern the world is the first step in unraveling this narrative. These laws are not just concepts. They are the frameworks upon which the entire system rests. They are ancient, universal, and unyielding. But to grasp these laws, you must first unlearn what you think you know. You must strip away the layers of conditioning and question everything you've been told. This is not an easy path. It requires courage, curiosity, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Consider the parable of Plato's cave. Prisoners are chained in a dark cave, watching shadows on the wall, believing them to be reality. One prisoner escapes and discovers the world outside, a world of light, color, and infinite possibilities. But when he returns to free the others, they resist. They cannot imagine a reality beyond the shadows they've always known. Are you ready to leave the cave, to see the world as it truly is, not as the shadows have painted it? This journey begins with understanding the symbols that surround you. It begins with noticing the patterns, questioning the narratives, and awakening to the deeper truths. Symbols are not just tools of control. They are also keys to liberation. When you learn to decode them, you gain the power to see beyond the illusion. But symbols are only the surface. Beneath them lie the two laws that govern everything. These laws are the foundation of human civilization, the unseen forces that shape our lives. To understand them is to understand the game, the players, and the rules. In this first step, open your eyes to the symbols that surround you. Look at the logos, the flags, the rituals. Ask yourself, what do they mean? What do they represent? And, most importantly, how do they influence you? As you begin to see the patterns, you will realize that the world is not random. It is a carefully orchestrated system, guided by principles as old as time, and these principles, these laws, hold the key to understanding the truth about the world and your place within it. But first, you must let go of the belief that what you've been told is the whole story. You must step into the unknown, ready to see, ready to question, and ready to awaken. The truth is not hidden. It is simply overlooked, the layers of control shaping our reality. If symbols are the language of the system, then the two laws that govern the world are its backbone. They are hidden in plain sight, functioning so seamlessly that most never stop to question them. Yet, understanding these laws will begin to dismantle the illusion that has been carefully constructed around you. From the moment of your birth, you were entered into a system of agreements and codes. Think back to the day you were born. What happened? A birth certificate was issued, complete with your name in capital letters, a small detail but one of profound significance. That document is more than a record of your existence. It is the first step in binding you to these unseen laws. Jordan Maxwell often spoke of the subtle ways in which society uses symbols and contracts to influence and control. When you are issued a birth certificate, you are not just being documented, you're being entered into a system of commerce. Your name in capital letters represents a legal entity, separate from the living, breathing you. This entity operates under the laws of commerce, which govern nearly every interaction in your life. This is not conspiracy, but a system of administration, deeply rooted in ancient practices. The Roman Empire, for example, used similar techniques to maintain control over its vast territories. The concept of legal personhood allowed rulers to govern not individuals, but entities, ensuring compliance and organization on a massive scale. As you grow, you are taught to obey without question. School trains you to follow rules, work within systems, and accept the authority of the state. But rarely do you learn about the deeper forces at play. You are encouraged to focus on the visible laws, traffic regulations, tax codes, or criminal statutes, while the invisible laws remain unnoticed. These invisible laws are the two great forces that govern the world: the laws of the land and the laws of the sea. The two laws that govern the world, those of land and sea, are more than abstract concepts. They are living systems, intricately woven into every facet of human civilization. First is the law of the land. This is the realm most people are familiar with, even if they don't fully grasp its origins or implications. The law of the land is tied to geography, culture, and governance. It dictates the rules by which nations, states, and communities operate. It governs property, criminal codes, education, and social conduct. But there's something deeper at play. The law of the land is rooted in ancient traditions, many of which predate written history. Consider the role of kings and queens in shaping laws. During the medieval period, the divine right of kings, the belief that monarchs were chosen by God to rule, was more than a theological concept. It was a means of legitimizing authority and ensuring compliance. This belief was embedded in the legal systems of the time and persists in subtle ways today. Even modern democracies, which pride themselves on equality and justice, carry echoes of these ancient hierarchies. The leaders may be elected, rather than anointed, but the structure of control remains at its core. The law of the land is about boundaries. It defines who owns what, who is allowed where, and who has the right to govern whom. Borders, fences, and titles are all manifestations of this law. It's a system designed to organize society, but it's also a tool for maintaining power. To understand how pervasive this law is, look at the symbols that represent it. The gavel in a courtroom, the flag of a nation, the deed to a house. Each of these objects carries a deeper meaning. They are tokens of authority, reminders of the system in which we operate. But the law of the land is only half the story. The other half lies in the law of the sea, a system that is perhaps even more influential, though far less understood. The law of the sea, or maritime law, governs commerce, trade, and navigation. It is the foundation of global economics, shaping the flow of goods, money, and power across the planet. This law operates on a principle of fluidity. While the law of the land is fixed and territorial, the law of the sea is dynamic, shifting with the tides of commerce and negotiation. It is not tied to any single nation or culture. Instead, it transcends borders, connecting the world in a web of agreements and exchanges. To see the law of the sea in action, consider the language of commerce. When you open a bank account, you are engaging with a system that originated in maritime practices. Terms like currency and liquid assets echo this connection. Even the act of signing a contract can be traced back to maritime law, which requires agreements to be documented to ensure trust between parties navigating the unpredictable seas. This law extends far beyond the ocean. It governs not just ships and sailors, but corporations, financial institutions, and entire economies. A corporation, for example, is legally considered a ship under maritime law. Its captain, or CEO, is responsible for steering it through the waters of global commerce. Now think about how these two laws intersect. When a ship docks at a port, it enters the jurisdiction of the land. The goods it carries are subject to customs, taxes, and regulations. Similarly, when a person interacts with the legal system, they move between these two realms. Your birth certificate, for instance, places you under the law of the land, while your financial transactions bind you to the law of the sea. The law of the land is solid, unyielding, and territorial. It represents the human desire for stability, permanence, and identity. It anchors us to specific places and cultures, creating a sense of belonging, but also a sense of limitation. The law of the sea, on the other hand, is fluid, adaptable, and expansive. It embodies the human spirit's drive for exploration, innovation, and connection across boundaries. Together, these laws mirror the duality of human nature. We crave both roots and wings, both security and adventure. Yet, in the modern world, this balance has been disrupted. The systems built upon these laws have been co-opted by forces seeking control rather than harmony. The law of the land, once a protector of community and justice, has often been weaponized to enforce inequality and division. Borders have become tools for exclusion. Laws have been manipulated to favor the powerful, and the very concept of justice has been clouded by bureaucracy and corruption. Similarly, the law of the sea, which once facilitated trade and cooperation, has been exploited to serve corporate interests. Maritime law, with its roots in ancient commerce, now governs multinational corporations that wield more power than many nations. These corporations navigate the waters of global economics with little accountability, leaving individuals and communities at their mercy. Consider the story of the man who lived his life unaware of the invisible contracts that bound him. He paid taxes, obeyed laws, and conformed to societal norms, believing he was free. Yet, his every action was dictated by systems he didn't understand. This is the reality for most of us, a reality shaped by the interplay of the two laws that govern the world. The symbols of these laws are everywhere, hidden in plain sight. Look at the architecture of banks, courthouses, and government buildings. The columns and domes echo ancient temples, reminding us of the spiritual authority once tied to these institutions. Look at the language of commerce. Terms like currency and liquidation reveal the maritime roots of modern finance. This duality is not a coincidence. It is a deliberate structure designed to manage both the physical and economic aspects of human life. But who benefits from this structure, and why is it so carefully hidden? To answer these questions, we must look to the origins of these laws. The law of the sea has its roots in ancient Babylonian and Phoenician practices, where trade and navigation were essential to survival. These civilizations developed systems to regulate commerce and resolve disputes, laying the groundwork for modern maritime law. The law of the land, on the other hand, emerged from tribal customs and territorial agreements. Over time, these customs were codified into legal systems, often influenced by religious beliefs. The Ten Commandments, for example, can be seen as an early form of the law of the land, providing a moral framework for community life. Both systems evolved to meet the needs of growing societies, but they were also shaped by those in power. Rulers and elites used these laws to control resources, enforce hierarchies, and maintain order. This dynamic continues today, though it is often obscured by the complexity of modern life. Consider the story of the Tower of Babel, a parable about humanity's attempt to reach the heavens. According to the Bible, God confounded their language and scattered them across the earth. This story is often interpreted as a warning against hubris, but it also highlights the importance of communication and unity. The two laws that govern the world can be seen as a modern Tower of Babel, a system that connects us while simultaneously dividing us. Understanding these laws is not just an intellectual exercise. It is a call to awareness. By seeing the system for what it is, you can begin to navigate it more consciously. You can question the symbols and rituals that shape your reality, and you can reclaim your power. Imagine your life as a ship navigating an endless ocean. You are the captain, steering your course through the currents and waves. The ship represents your physical existence, your body, your identity, your possessions. The ocean, vast and unpredictable, represents the forces of commerce, trade, and economy. Now consider this: the ship is bound by maritime law, a system that governs all activity on the seas. This law dictates everything, from the ownership of cargo to the responsibilities of the crew. But when the ship docks at a port, it enters a new realm, governed by the laws of the land. These two systems, maritime law and land law, interact in ways that shape your entire existence, even if you've never set foot on a boat. Symbols reinforce this duality. Have you ever noticed the maritime themes in everyday life? The terms citizenship and relationship originate from the language of navigation. Courts operate on dockets, a term borrowed from shipping. Even your financial transactions are tied to maritime metaphors. Banks derive from riverbanks, guiding the flow of currency. These symbols are not coincidences. They are echoes of the ancient systems that govern us. Once you see the patterns, you cannot unsee them. Consider the parable of the blind men and the elephant. Each man touches a different part of the animal, its trunk, its tusks, its tail, and believes he understands the whole, but the truth eludes them because they fail to step back and see the bigger picture. Humanity is much like these blind men, grasping at fragments of reality while missing the underlying framework. The two laws, those of land and sea, are not just metaphors, but tangible systems that dictate every aspect of your life. They operate not only in the legal system sense, but also in the spiritual and psychological realms. To understand them is to see the world as it truly is, a stage where every player follows a script written long before their arrival. In ancient times, knowledge of these laws was reserved for the elite. Secret societies, monarchies, and priesthoods guarded this wisdom, using it to maintain power and control. Even today, this knowledge is accessible only to those who dare to question the status quo. Let us consider one of the most enduring symbols of authority, the crown. Whether it sits on the head of a monarch or appears on a corporate logo, the crown represents dominion. It is a reminder of who holds the power and who follows. But whose crown is it, really? What does it signify? According to Maxwell and others who have studied these systems, the crown is not merely a symbol of monarchy, but of the system itself, the intertwined laws of land and sea that govern every aspect of human life. When you pledge allegiance, pay taxes, or sign contracts, you are acknowledging this crown, often without realizing it. This realization can be unsettling. It challenges everything you've been taught about freedom, democracy, and individual rights, but it also offers a path to liberation. By understanding these laws, you can begin to navigate the system consciously, rather than being swept along by its currents. But what if you could step outside this system? What if you could reclaim your sovereignty, not by rejecting these laws, but by understanding them? How to reclaim your sovereignty? The key lies in awareness. Notice the symbols, the language, and the rituals that shape your reality. Look beyond their surface meanings to the deeper truths they conceal. When you recognize the symbols and structures that shape your reality, you can begin to question them. Why do we accept the authority of certain institutions? Why do we value certain currencies or legal systems? By asking these questions, you open the door to a deeper understanding of the world and your place within it. This journey is not without its challenges. Stepping outside the system can be uncomfortable, even frightening. It requires you to confront the illusions that have shaped your life and to embrace a new way of thinking. But it also offers a profound sense of freedom, the freedom to define your own reality. To illustrate this, let us return to the parable of the Tower of Babel. In this story, humanity's attempt to reach the heavens was thwarted by the confusion of languages. Yet from this chaos, new cultures and communities emerged. The scattering of people was not just a punishment. It was an opportunity for growth and diversity. In the same way, understanding the two laws that govern the world is not about dismantling society or rejecting its systems. It is about finding balance, about honoring the need for structure while embracing the potential for fluidity. It is about recognizing the power of symbols while reclaiming their meanings. Imagine a world where these laws work in harmony, where the law of the land provides stability without oppression, and the law of the sea fosters connection without exploitation. This is not a utopian dream. It is a vision rooted in the principles of balance and awareness. To achieve this vision, we must start with ourselves. We must examine the ways in which these laws influence our thoughts, actions, and beliefs. We must question the narratives that have been handed down to us and seek the truth hidden beneath them. This process is not about rebellion. It is about transformation. Just as the ship navigates both the sea and the shore, we too can learn to navigate the complexities of these laws. We can find the middle ground between control and freedom, between tradition and innovation. In doing so, we can reclaim our power as individuals and as a collective. We can create a society that honors both the roots of the land and the currents of the sea. A society that values stability and adaptability, justice and cooperation, identity and unity. And the journey does not end here. Understanding the two laws that govern the world is just the beginning. The real work lies in applying this knowledge to your life, in using it to create change, both within yourself and in the world around you. The choice is yours, and the possibilities are endless. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.